Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca from DevourDinner.com. Happy Sunday everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. As you join in, please say hello, let me know where you're from, and we're going to take just a quick moment to make sure that all of our technology is set up and connected before we dive in. We've got two great recipes for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday that I want to share with you today, that they're going to be so fun. So I hope that you're taking notes or you're making them along with me to test them out, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So welcome as you join in, and make sure to say hello. We should be live on Facebook and on YouTube as well. We're just going to check that technology really fast and make sure, and guess what? We are. Did you hear that? We are. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Kathy's from Maine. I am going to go ahead and drop in the chat the first recipe that we're going to work on today, because it is a keeper. That link should go out onto the Facebook chat as well as the YouTube chat, and I'll continue to drop those links as we're chatting. But if you're watching this on the replay and you're wondering, how do I get the chats? Those are linked up above. So you should be able to get those when the live is all over, still a part of it as well. Or you can scroll back through the chats and see them there. So that's kind of fun. Hey, Amy. Amy is from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group. So welcome, Amy. And welcome to all those who have hopped on over from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners. I am Rebecca from DevourDinner.com, where I focus on easy to make recipes for busy families using common ingredients. I love to use the pressure cooker, the Instant Pot, the air fryer, the stove top, the oven, everything. I love it, and I love helping you at home with delicious, tasty recipes using common ingredients. Sometimes we call those pantry ingredients, things that we have on hand that we're not having to go out and buy special ingredients for typically. And this all started with my family favorite recipes that I raised my boys on. All right, everyone, the first recipe, we dropped it. We are going to make a homemade cranberry sauce. Now, let me tell you, this recipe for homemade cranberry sauce is fantastic. It has been on my site for a number of years. It is made thousands and thousands and thousands of times for the Thanksgiving holiday all across the world, whoever is celebrating. This recipe is very, very popular on my site. It is so easy to do in your Instant Pot. However, it can also be done on the stovetop if that's what you would prefer. But today I'm going to show you how to do this with the Instant Pot or electric pressure cooker, whatever you're using at home. The first thing you're going to need is a 12-ounce bag of fresh cranberries. Now, of course, you can double the batch. You can 1.5 times the batch. Sometimes you can find fresh cranberries in different sizes, but I just got one of the smaller bags of 12 ounces. I have rinsed my cranberries, and I have picked out any of the ones that are a little mushy or just don't look good, because we don't want those. So make sure you wash your cranberries, because we want good, firm looking cranberries. Now I'm gonna go top down so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So here are my cranberries. I've rinsed these. These have dried. I did this morning, and we're gonna add this to the pot. Super simple. Then we're gonna add to it 1 cup of sugar. Now, you can reduce this a little bit. Sometimes people don't want it as sweet. You could do 3/4 of a cup. If you do just a 1/2 cup of sugar, it's not quite enough sweetness in my opinion. And so you might want to play with that if you want to do less. But we're just going to dump that right in. Then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of honey, and we're going to do a 1/2 cup of water. Now, typically, I've always said, make sure you heat up your honey so your honey is thin and it runs thin. Interestingly enough, you can see this water. I mixed the honey with the water, and I set this up an hour or so ago, and the honey has all dissolved into my water. I had warm water at the time. And so we don't need to throw it in the microwave. But if you're just getting this ready and you just have a 1/2 cup of water, throw it into the microwave for maybe 15 seconds, just so that that honey can melt in and you don't have a big gloopy honey down in your pressure cooker because that could cause a burn notice. So we'll go ahead and we'll just pour that in. Looks like some of my honey is still on the bottom and we want all of that. Ooh, it's still a little thick. You know what? I'm gonna melt it. I'm just gonna pop it in the microwave. We'll see what that does. Now, we're also gonna add into it 1/4 cup of orange juice. So we'll add that in. We're gonna get that honey. And we're gonna pour that in. Remember, that was just 1 tablespoon of honey. It's okay to scrape a little out, but you don't want the thick honey. Now I'm gonna stir all of that up so that the sugar can mix with the water, with the honey, with the orange juice. We're also going to add, some orange zest. Now I like to do like 1 tablespoon of orange zest. And remember, when you're zesting any citrus, we just want the zest on the outside. We don't want to go down to where it turns white. That's not the good part. We just want this top layer. So I'm just gonna zest probably about 1/3 of this orange. This would be like, it's a little bigger than a baseball, I think. You can never have too much of this zest, honestly. There we go. Can you see that? Now you could use the fresh orange juice from your orange. I just used an orange juice today, whatever works. We're also going to add 1 cinnamon stick. Pop it right in the top. That's it. That's all we need to do. Now this is going to pressure cook for 1 minute. We are going to allow a 5-minute natural pressure release. So we're gonna close the back pressure valve and we are going to set the front. Use your plus and minus keys so you can adjust to 1. You'll see the 1 on the front panel. It's going to take just a moment and we're going to hear some beeps. Remember, those beeps are letting us know that your pressure cooker has accepted the readings that you have just put in. So in this case, it's going to heat up the bottom element. It's going to bring that liquid, the water and the orange juice, up to a boil. And as it comes to a boil, it's going to create steam. Steam will create pressure, and pressure is going to seal off the back of the pressure valve and seal off the pressure cooker. It's then going to be under pressure for 1 minute. After 1 minute, we're going to hear the beep again, and then it transitions into what's called natural pressure release. For this recipe, we're going to let the pressure naturally release for 5 minutes before we open the pressure valve and release the remaining pressure. And let's just get to that point, and then I'll teach you the rest of this, okay? Because cranberry sauce is fresh cranberry sauce is so yummy. And I know we have people watching today that have made this recipe, and they'll chime in and they'll say how good it really is. So we're gonna move this off to the side. We're just gonna let it do its thing. We're gonna say hi to everybody. Hi, Kathy. Kathy's from Florida. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Doreen. Doreen says, looking forward to today's show. Susie, welcome from Ontario, Canada. Hello, Lisa. How are you? Lisa says, I made this for the first time 2 years ago and we loved it. Trelva says, hello, getting ready for Thanksgiving. I love it. All right, Lisa, I'm going to pick on you. So you started making this 2 years ago after I did a demo. I know you watched it back then. Lisa has been a longtime visitor to the site, and she helps Amy over on the Instant Pot 101 for Beginner group. So welcome, welcome. This is a fun recipe. And honestly, I think it's fun because of how quick and easy the recipe is. Growing up, on our Thanksgiving table, we always had the jellied can of cranberry sauce. And as typical children, I wasn't interested in it. Didn't think it was all that great. And it wasn't until I was an adult when I started making fresh cranberry sauce that I was like, oh, this is different. This is so much better. And I love it. I love to spread it on hot rolls. I loved cranberry sauce for the leftovers, honestly. It's great the day of, but I love using cranberry sauce when you make the leftover turkey sandwiches, when you put it in your mashed potatoes, or if you're making one of those like croissant rings. We love to do the croissant rings where you layer down like ham or turkey and then mashed potatoes and then cranberry sauce and then stuffing and some cheese and then wrap it all up. I've got it on my site. I'll drop that link later. It's a wonderful leftover recipe, so that's kind of fun. Kathy says, I've made it and it's delicious. Amy says, it's fantastic. And the Brie Bites are awesome. The Brie Bites, listen, the Brie Bites are an OG. They are an original recipe to the site, and they are also a favorite. They always go viral during the holiday season. They're so easy to make. And so I thought, let's make homemade cranberry sauce, and then let's make the Cranberry Brie Bites so that you can see at home how easy they are to make Cranberry Brie Bites. First of all, because that's a big deal, right? At first I thought, oh, this is a lot of work, but it's not. And I want to show you that part of it. And so we're going to use some puff pastry for our second recipe, along with the fresh cranberry sauce that we're making, and some brie cheese. And we're going to work on that right now while our cranberry sauce is cooking. How's that? All right, I'm going to drop the Cranberry Brie Bites. And some of you might be wondering, now why did I go early, an hour early today? You know what? My life is crazy, and I think you've picked up on that over the last couple of weeks with all my traveling. I have got to head out the door, and I need to do so before it gets too dark, and I've got some driving to do. And so I thought if we just go live an hour early, I knew all of you at home would still come and support, or you'd watch it on the replay, just to make my day a little bit easier with my travel schedule. So I appreciate that today. But this is just for today, so don't worry there. Amy says that the Cranberry Brie Bites are super easy. Susie says Brie Bites with cranberry sound amazing, and they really are. Okay, let me gather some things. Now, we're going to use a mini muffin tin. You guys want to laugh? This morning I got up and I got thinking, okay, what do I need for the live? Let's start getting things set up. And I'm getting all my stuff set up, and I'm looking for my mini muffin tin. Guess where it is? In a box in storage. I don't even have it here in Utah. So I picked up this little one. Usually I've got the bigger one, the 24 one, so you can do all of this at once. But we're just going to do a little small batch, a little 12. I picked this up at the grocery store for $3. So you don't need anything fancy is what my point is. Okay? $3. And this one is, you know, a nice non-stick. So I've washed it because it's brand new. Let me grab a few of these ingredients. All right. We have got our puff pastry. Now, I'm just going to take just a little bit of flour, just because I don't want anything to stick. Now, this was frozen puff pastry. Let it thaw out naturally, you guys. Pull it out of your fridge, just cover it in plastic, and just let it thaw all on its own. Okay? Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a rolling pin and just kind of flatten it. You know? I'm not going to make this dramatically bigger. So notice the size that it is currently, right? All I want to do is I want to bring this line up a little more even to itself. Okay? we're just gonna make sure it's even in the other direction. Okay, do you see how it's just a more uniform rectangle? That's it. That's all we're doing. Ooh. There we go. Okay. Now, we are going to cut this. So we are going, you know what? You guys, let me just check the recipe really quick. I think we're cutting this in a 4x6, but I don't want to steer you wrong. Oh, wrong recipe. Yes, 4 rows by 6 rows is what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to go 6 rows this direction. So I'm going to cut it in half. Okay, and then we're going to get 3 out of this. I eyeball it. But see, this is why you want this in a good rectangle shape, because if it wasn't, you would end up having some of these little pastries being a lot smaller than the others. Okay? We'll do that over here. Okay, so we've got our 6 rows, and then we're going to do this by 4. So I'm just going to cut down the middle, cut it in half, and then I'm going to cut each of these in half again. So 1 puff pastry sheet does 24 Cranberry Brie Bites. Of course, in a puff pastry sheet, there are 2. You could pull both of them out. You could do both of them. It's up to you. There we go. That's it. Super easy. I don't know if you heard the beep going on at our pressure cooker, but it has come up to pressure. It's beeped. It's probably now says 1. That's going to count down on numbers, so that's super easy. I'm going to go ahead and spray the mini muffin with some nonstick cooking spray, and if you haven't, then you also want to get your oven preheating to 375 degrees. So we're just going to go away from the camera. Leave it at that. There we go. Now, all I'm going to do is take one of these little pastries. I can't see where you guys are at. There we go. And we're just going to put it down inside. See how easy that is? Okay, do you hear? The Instant Pot is now beeping. The 1-minute pressure cook is done. It is going into a natural pressure release. So we're going to let that happen for 5 minutes before we open up the pressure valve, which is going to give us time to cut our brie. Okay, question on the brie cheese. Do you guys like it with the skin on or skin off? You do not have to take the skins off. You can leave them on, but it is a personal preference. All right, let me get my brie. We're gonna open this up. So if you're not sure what brie is, there you go. Comes in these nice little round containers. Usually looks like this. It's all wrapped up. I thought about doing this before, and then I thought, no, sometimes it's really nice to see how things are packaged, what it looks like, where to find it. Over the weekend, yesterday, I attended some cooking classes. I like to do those kind of things, you know, kind of fun. I attended some cooking classes. There we go. Okay. I am going to cut this in half because we're not going to need much more than that. We're going to pull this back in here just because I want to use my cutting board. I'm going to move this out of the way. Now, you can cut these edges off if you want, or you can leave them there. It's totally a personal preference, but we just want these little kind of nubs. So what I like to do is, I don't know if you can see how thin that is? It's just up against my knife, right? It's probably like maybe a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. And we're just going to cut these in little slivers. Again, they're just like 1/4 of an inch. And brie cheese is sticky. So after you've cut a few, sometimes it's nice to clean your knife. Leaving the skin, the edges on does help, so you can handle it. And we're just going to set that in. See how easy that is? Okay, I'm just going to clean my knife. We're going to do one more cut. We won't even need the whole part. Cut that edge. There we go. Super simple. Amy says she likes to cut it off. Peggy, hello. Peggy just said, I tried commenting on YouTube and I couldn't for some reason. That's very interesting. Carla is over on YouTube. Welcome, Carla. And Carla says, I've never had brie. Brie is... It's a really, really, really soft cheese. It melts really creamy really well. I don't know how. Let's see if we can. So texture-wise, right? Think of, I'm going to get messy here because I want you to see. It's softer than cream cheese. See that? Oh, we're not focusing. It's softer than cream cheese. Does that make sense? The reason why it stays together is because of that outer skin. Otherwise, it is very hard to handle. Not impossible, but it's a little harder to handle. Whoopsie. All right. We're going to push this off to the side. We have got our puff pastry in the pan. We have a little bit of brie cheese. We're going to take a look at our cranberry sauce that we're making. And then for garnish, we have got some rosemary. And I have just taken some fresh rosemary and just chopped it. I've also gotten a little bit of pecans, some chopped pecans. Okay, super simple, both of those. That's it. This will go in the oven and it will bake. Okay, so we're gonna set this off to the side. We've got, oh, it's been 6 minutes. We're gonna open the pressure valve. We're gonna switch gears. So if you're new to pressure cooking, let's go full screen so you can see what I'm doing. Move your pressure cooker away from your cabinets. Move it away from low-lying like lights or anything like that, because the steam will ruin those over time. It won't initially on the first one or the second one, but over time it will. So let it vent in a place that it can just vent, okay? Don't put a towel over the top, that's not good, but just open up the pressure valve and allow that pressure to come out. So we're gonna let the pressure out, we're gonna open it up. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I can already smell it. It smells so good. Remember, preheat your oven so that it's up and going. We're going to bake these at 375 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. All right, do you see what happened? Who knows what just happened? Hi, Cheryl, how are you? Hello, Coloring with Dee. She is from Bethel Island, California. Welcome, welcome. All right, did you see what happened with the releasing the pressure? Anybody? So what just happened was it started spitting liquid out, right? Think about what's going on inside the pressure cooker. We have the water, the cranberries, sugar, honey, orange juice, orange zest, and the cinnamon. And there's all this pressure, and so everything's all built up. And as that pressure comes out, it's grabbing some of that liquid and trying to spit it out. Well, I do not want to be hit with hot cranberry sauce or any of that which is in there. So by closing the pressure valve, we're doing what's called a controlled pressure release. We're stopping all of what's inside to be sprayed all over our kitchen, okay? We let it sit for a minute, just like we have, and I'm gonna open it back up again. It's that simple. It's just allowing the ingredients inside to settle down and get away from that pressure valve is all that we're doing, but it keeps things from spewing all over the kitchen. That typically happens when you have like soups or stews because you've got a lot of liquid really high up. It will also happen when you're cooking pastas because pastas have a lot of starch and all that bubbly stuff right up at the top, okay? So just know if you're learning how to use an electric pressure cooker that happens. It is not a big deal. Just quickly close it. Use a spoon, use a spatula, use your hand. You notice how I went around the back side of it when I did it. You can go back and watch because you don't want to put your hand over the steam. That steam will burn you. And so you want to go around it and grab it and just close it from the side. Super simple that way. Tammy knows. Amy says Mount Vesuvius. Yeah, that's totally it. Carla says it was spitting. Yes, you guys do know. Wonderful. All right. We're going to get that lid out of the way. Oh, this looks so good. Oops, I'm caught. There we go. Oh, you guys, it smells so good. I wish I had smell-o-vision because it really is a big deal. Now, it's hard to see in there, right? But you can see all the cranberries have burst open, right? It's thick still, or it's not as thick, but it's thickened up. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out that cinnamon stick because we don't need it anymore, okay? I'm just gonna throw that into the sink. Now, most of these cranberries have burst open. I am going to turn on the saute feature. And the reason is, let's see, cancel, saute. Did I do that? Yep. I want to heat that bottom element. What I want to do is I want to cook off some of this liquid. By doing so, it's going to continually thicken up. And of course, as cranberry sauce cools, it will thicken even further. So we don't want to cook out all of the liquid, but we do want to cook out some of it just to help thicken it up. And then what I'm doing is stirring and I'm breaking up those cranberries just a little bit more. So now here's the question I have for you, and put them in the comments. Do you like a smooth cranberry sauce? Do you like a little bit of chunks of cranberries, or do you like a lot of chunks of cranberries? Because depending upon how you like it at home will determine how many of these cranberries you break up. If you like a more smooth cranberry, then you're gonna wanna start pressing and breaking down these cranberries even further. So you notice I'm just scraping from the bottom and pushing them along the sides, breaking them down further. That's all I'm doing. I personally like a mixture. I like a little bit of the texture, but I don't like a whole cranberry. Okay, notice when I'm scraping, we're seeing a little bit of the bottom. and then it fills itself in, okay? Watch that, because that's gonna be our indicator on how much liquid has cooked out and how thick it's getting. The longer that we can see that scrape on the bottom tells us how much thicker it has gotten. And because we are simmering, we do want to stir. We don't want to let hot spots happen on the bottom because this is thick, right? We've got a lot of sugars in here. We don't want anything to burn at this point. Kathy is asking, could you use an immersion blender? I don't know, Kathy. But I'm going to take a stab at it. Here's the thing. An immersion blender is really going to blend and almost whip it. And I don't want this whipped. I just want them kind of pressed. So, although yes, you could, I don't know that you want to. Okay, notice it's holding its shape a little bit longer. Now I don't see the shapes of cranberries anymore. I can see the texture of cranberries, but I cannot see the shape. And I know for you at home, this is really dark, so it's hard to see. And we're steaming up our camera right above. I'm gonna do this just about a minute longer, and I'm gonna stop. Because as it cools, it thickens, and I don't want it to be, I want it to be super spreadable, and when it gets hot, I want it like this consistency. Does that make sense? So like if I put it on hot turkey, if I put it on hot mashed potatoes, I want the heat from the mashed potatoes or the heat from the turkey to help warm it and loosen it up. So yeah, we're gonna turn that off. Cancel. All right. I'm gonna pull this out and I'm gonna pour it into this bowl. I want you to see it. I want you to see the consistency of it. But remember, it is super hot. Can you see that? There we go. Now let's see if I can scrape this left-handed. You guys, I do a lot of things with my left hand, but there's just some things I don't do well. I feel really awkward trying to scrape this. There. We got most of it. My sink is piling up. All right. Let me show you. There we go. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe you can see as I pour it. Watch the screen as I pour it. See how it, like, it does fall, but it kind of falls in chunks? That's what we want. Okay, because this is piping hot. Piping hot. Now, we're gonna go back to our Cranberry Brie Bites. And we gotta get these little guys in our oven. So I'm gonna take just little, like, I mean, it's probably not even a full teaspoon. There you go. I'm just doing little bits. Okay, remember, cranberry sauce is strong. You don't need much. And I just am putting it right on top of the cheese, the brie. By a show of hands or comments, how many have had cranberry brie bites with pecans on top? I'm curious. That's a chunky one. We like the little chunks. That's kind of fun. There we go. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit of this on it. So I'm just putting like 1 or 2 little pieces of rosemary, maybe 3, maybe 4. And again, I just took my sprig of rosemary, I'll show you here in just a moment, and I just chopped it, rough chopped it. I'm gonna do some with pecans and some without. You could probably chop these pecans smaller than what I've got. I think they would be better. There we go. I'm just going to do 6 so you can see the difference. We'll go up close and personal. So these ones have pecans and these ones do not. It's as simple as it is. Now we're going to pop these in the oven, 375 degrees. We're going to cook for 12 to 15 minutes. My oven runs a little hot here. And so I'm going to watch it after 10 minutes, see where we're at. We're going to pop those in. There we go. Oh, okay, here's a trick, you guys. Currently my oven, the heating element is full bright red. Do we put things in the oven when the element is full bright red? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. In the meantime, Peggy says, I'm a smooth cranberry sauce person. I usually get the Ocean Spray can. Yes, Peggy, Ocean Spray is by far hands down the best canned cranberry sauce, for sure. And this cranberry sauce, you can get smooth or almost smooth. Give it a try. It's delicious. All right, Susie, you said orange marmalade. Is it the consistency of orange marmalade? Is that what you're saying? Coloring with D says, I used an immersion blender once and it ended up with a foamy blended cranberry sauce and the foam didn't go away. Okay, Coloring with D, thank you. That's what I was suspecting with an immersion blender with this, that it would like whip it up and not in a good way. So don't do that. Kathy says, I love your Mickey mitts. They're pretty cute. Whoops. It's actually, we have Mickey and Minnie. Are they fun? Super fun. My son and daughter-in-law got those for me. Okay, the answer to my question, do we put things in the oven when the heating element is bright heat? The answer is no. Because remember, when the oven heats up and it cools down, and it heats up and it cools down. If I put these in when that element is hot, it's gonna start and almost getting these bottoms too hot too fast, which could burn them. We don't want that. So wait till that element goes down and has been down for a minute before you pop these in. All right. We're gonna set the timer for 10 minutes and then I'm gonna check it out, see where we're at. But what questions do you guys have? What can we chat about? Susan says, I make these with orange marmalade and brie cheese. Oh, shut up. That sounds delicious. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. Amy says, I'm in the no nuts camp. Kathy says, so cute. Kathy says no. What does Kathy say no to? Oh, Coloring with D says no. Back to the immersion blender. Okay, don't anyone use the immersion blender. That is bad news. Bad news. Amy says, I have used an immersion blender and it works okay as long as you just use it like you're using just a little drop at a time in different spots quickly. Otherwise, it will just be cranberry soup. Okay, that makes sense. So what Amy is saying is if you're using an immersion blender, just like put it in one spot and go zing it. So it just goes zings in that spot, and then pick it up and put another zing in that spot. And just do little pockets for just a zing, just a fast zing, and that's it. You like my sound effects? Trova says the cranberry sauce looks fabulous. Canned cranberry sauce usually has high fructose corn syrup, which I don't like. This recipe will be very helpful and more healthy for Thanksgiving. You know what? I'm going to trust you that that's true because I don't know. I haven't checked the cans, but I bet it is. So this is a healthier. I mean, it still has sugar in it. But again, you can cut down some of that sugar. I haven't tasted this yet because it's too hot. And I don't want to get burnt. I do like to stir it as it cools so we don't get the film on top. Fun fact, okay, here's a couple of tips for you. Everybody ready? This is a big deal. First of all, cranberry sauce. You can make this right here today and freeze it. Wait till it cools, put it in your Tupperware container, put it in your freezer and freeze it. Pull it out the morning of, let it thaw and serve. Seriously. Help yourself by not trying to make everything the day of or the day before. Get some of these things off of your plate. Cranberry sauce can be frozen. There's no reason why you cannot make this right now. Freeze it and you'll have it for Thanksgiving. Another tip, leftover cranberry sauce. Freeze it in ice cube trays. Single servings in ice cube trays. Then when they're frozen, pop it out of the ice cube tray, put it in a Ziploc bag, throw it back in your freezer. I'm telling you, there will be times between now and Christmas you are going to want just a little bit of cranberry sauce. You're going to be so grateful that you didn't throw that little bit away and you have it in an ice cube container. Let it thaw, use it. It's wonderful on charcuterie boards for just a little dab, a little spread. It's wonderful to add to many meals. So many of you viewers at home are empty nesters or you're very small families. You don't want all of it. This saves you. I promise you. It's wonderful. Verna says, made this last year for a church potluck and already have been asked to make it again this year. It's so good. You know what? Church potlucks are tough, right? People have no problem criticizing, but when they love something, man, you hear about it. So let's take that for a huge win. In fact, Verna, I would love if you would hop back over to the website and leave a review on this recipe and say just that. I made it for a church potluck and everybody loved it. I'm being asked to bring it again and give it a star rating. It helps others know that it's a great recipe that they want to try and make too. It's a big deal. So if you've made this recipe, please hop over, leave those reviews on not only this recipe, but any other recipes that you've made, whether they're mine or you go back to other bloggers and do it on their sites too. It really makes a difference for us. Mary says, I bet they'd be delicious as raspberry preserves. I'm sure. Susie is asking, can you use other types of cheese? You could probably do like a cream cheese in it if you wanted. Brie is just the Cranberry Brie Bites are just the typical iconic recipe. But absolutely, there's lots of ways to change and modify based upon your likes. Brie cheese can get a little expensive. For instance, this package of Brie cheese, which is 8 ounces, was just over $5, which is kind of a lot of money. So I get it. Let's see. You guys are all so fantastic. Okay, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up, please do so. Give it a heart. If you have shared it onto your Facebook page or to a friend, or put it into a group, big hugs from me to you. I appreciate it so much. And another big shout out for Amy from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners. And if you're hopping over from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group, again, I'm Rebecca from devourdinner.com, where I try to go live almost every Sunday to demonstrate recipes for you at home so that you can take notes, learn how to make these recipes, and try them for your friends, your family, or just yourselves. And it is a great place to hang out and learn some tips. Truly it is. Listen, I kind of touched on this weekend. I've been doing cooking classes here at a place locally in Salt Lake. Had so much fun. So much fun. I tried royal icing for the first time ever. You know, those beautiful cookies that are just so fancy decorated. Sugar cookies. People are so talented and so creative. I did that for the first time. And I don't have mine here, or I would show you, but it was such a fun experience. I loved that. Learned lots about chocolate, types of chocolate, differences between chocolates, why you use one chocolate over another chocolate. So these classes that I do for you at home, I enjoy them, and that's why I go and I learn more so I can share these tips and tricks with you at home as well. Not only what I'm doing in my kitchen, but you know, all the extra education and things that I can learn to help you at home. It's just part of the fun. Okay, let's see. We're gonna put this off to the side. We are mostly cleaned up. What questions do you guys have? Where's our timer at? We got 2 minutes left. All right. They're still cooking. Now remember, I set that timer for 10 minutes and the recipe says 10 to 12 minutes or 12 to 15 minutes. So as typical, I always set the timer for less time. Why do I do that? Well, one, ovens can change. You may know your oven and it may just gradually change over a year, right? I don't make Cranberry Brie Bites that often. And I don't want to burn it. But when I did it last year, it was 12 minutes. But maybe my oven has changed in temperature a little bit. Or maybe the pan that I'm using isn't as thick or is thinner or is thicker or whatever, which will change that cooking time. So always set your time for just a smidgen under the recommendation times, and then you can check so that your oven on how it cooks. That way, whatever it is you're baking will turn out perfectly. That's always a big deal. Always a big deal. All right, next week. Let's talk about next week. I don't know if I'll be live next week or not, so stay tuned. I am traveling. I will be back up in Idaho. I don't know that I'm going to have access to my kitchen, my empty kitchen. If I am live next week, we will be doing something super simple with the air fryer, or I may just do some of those no-bake pies that you guys love to see how quick and easy they are to make. So stay tuned. It will be a very, very simple one. And we'll just see. But otherwise, I'll be back the week after that for sure. Fingers crossed that I'll have access to my kitchen. Doreen says, don't get the melting the honey for the sauce with the water repeat. All right, okay, I'm gonna guess. Let's go back to the beginning, Doreen. Uh-oh, I'm sticky, hold on. So with the recipe for the cranberry sauce, we're using 12 ounces of fresh cranberries that you have washed, and you've picked out the old ones or the shrivelly ones. You've picked out the little stems, whatever. We're gonna add in a cup of sugar. Now you can do 3/4 of a cup. It won't be as sweet. You could even drop that down to 2/3 of a cup of sugar if you wanted, based upon the sweetness level that you're going for. Then you're going to use a 1/2 cup of water. You're going to use 1 tablespoon of honey. I like to put the honey in the water to help dissolve it. Typically, you guys have seen me do this before, I heat the honey up in the microwave so that it's thin, because hot honey, physically hot temperatured honey is thinner than cold honey. We don't want to put cold honey directly into our Instant Pot liner because it sinks to the bottom and kind of gets stuck there. It could prevent a burn notice. But by heating that honey up, it makes it thinner and it helps it to dissolve into the other ingredients quicker. So it's just a little tip to help prevent that burn notice. All right, you heard the beep. So that is our 10 minutes. Let me just look, and it needs more time. It's all poofing up, but it is not golden. So we're gonna give it 2 more minutes. We're gonna see what it does. Peggy says, my oven tends to cook hotter, so I set the temperature a little lower and check before the time. Very good, Peggy. That's awesome. That's a great example because everybody's oven cooks a little bit differently, especially when we're talking about baking. Baking is truly a science. It's a science of ingredients. It makes a difference what is going on with the weather. Is there more moisture in the air? Is it more humid? Is it colder? Is it hotter? That can make a difference on ingredients and the outcome of recipes. And so you have to be adjusting all the way around. If you were to take any recipe and do it 100% as face value, you could struggle because there's so many extra factors like my oven heats hot or my oven heats low, or maybe there's more humidity in the air, so whatever you're making, your cookie dough, your bread dough, your pastry dough just is more moist than what was described in the recipe. So there's so many factors. Susie says, I love these demos. When I can't watch, I go to YouTube. I love it, Susie. Thank you so much. Oh, Bill's on. Bill says, I have 2 little admirers that want to say hi. Oh, you guys bear with me for a minute. Girls, Mimi loves you. I love you. Big hugs, girls. Bill right now is visiting the girls and our son. It's his birthday today. And so he drove down and surprised them. They had no idea he was showing up on the doorstep. And it was just a big surprise all around. So super fun. Hi, girls. Mwah. Mimi loves you. It's always fun. A little jealous I'm not there. Okay, this is cooked 12 minutes. We're gonna check it out. Yeah, I want these to go a little longer. Oh, wait. We're gonna go 2 more minutes. It's just what we're gonna do. Because we can, right? Okay, I'm gonna start cleaning up though. What other questions do you guys have? I wanna hear. Okay, Peggy says, and I almost always burn my first batch of cookies. All right, Peggy, let's talk. Let me help you and anybody else. If you ever make a batch of cookies and you burn an entire batch, my heart breaks for you. Because nobody wants to burn an entire batch of cookies, right? There's a couple of things that can be going on. Your quality of pans. I love the cookie sheets from like Costco or Sam's Club, the aluminum ones, the nice big ones. Like go back in their restaurant area, those ones. Fantastic. They have been tried and true and have done wonders for me. If you're using a thinner pan, a thinner cookie sheet, you know, the kind that kind of get wobbly after a period of time, they don't lay flat anymore. Those are gonna give you uneven results. But here's my trick. I always test a cookie. I bake 1 or 2 cookies on that cookie sheet to test my oven, to test the time, to test the recipe, right? Because maybe that recipe of cookie dough is too soft and maybe it just needs to chill in the fridge for a little bit longer because if I cook it without chilling it, it spreads too much. Maybe I added in a little bit extra vanilla. Maybe my egg that I used was bigger than the egg that the person who's listing the recipe, which would be more moisture in the cookie dough. And if a cookie dough has more moisture, it is going to spread more, right? All these factors make a difference. Kathy says, I do 1 cookie first. Susie says, happy birthday. It's also my grandfather's birthday, or my granddaughter's birthday. She is only 3. Well, happy birthday to your little granddaughter. That's so fun. Okay. These are almost there. We're almost there. Like I said, my oven, this is a rental unit. We're still trying to figure it out. Who knows, right? Peggy says, good idea. Susie says, does any ever use a silicone baking mat? Oh, Susie, great question. Okay, so you can use the silicone baking mats under cookies. I do use those. I prefer parchment paper. And the reason I prefer parchment paper is really a lazy issue, because I'm cooking and I'm baking so much, I can just throw the parchment paper away, where a silicone mat I have to wash. So it's personal preference solely. But yes, I have them, I use them. I just use parchment paper more. Let's see. I just want to make sure I get all of the questions. If you are watching this on the replay, remember we're live on Facebook and on YouTube. I will try to circle back and answer questions as I always do, because we like to do that. All right. I'm going to pull these out. We have let them go. Oh, look at these. There we go. See how beautiful they are? They puff up. Oh, they look so good. All right, we're going to I've never used this pan before, so I just don't even, oh, look at how easy that's gonna come out. Let me get my pan, or my plate. Oopsie, there we go. Okay, they're not sticking at all. These are hot. These are very, very hot. All I'm doing is taking the knife and just lifting them out. Just getting up underneath it. They're not stuck. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but they are not stuck at all. This one, the cheese kind of splurted out. Oops. There we go. That was loud. That was really loud. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna just put a little contrast underneath this. It just helps so you guys can see them better. Helps it so it focuses a little bit. This is not the best, it's not a clean bowl anymore because it's all goopy on the edge. But I want you to see it. It's still plenty warm. There we go. That's it. Homemade cranberry sauce in the Instant Pot. Homemade Cranberry Brie Bites with puff pastry, brie, that fresh cranberry sauce. We've got some with a little bit of pecans on top. We've got all of it with some rosemary. They smell wonderful. These should be served warm, hot out of the oven. So this is a good project. You know when you invite people over for Thanksgiving dinner and they're like, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? This is what they can do to help. Because you've already made the cranberry sauce, right? You can even go so far as to get your little puff pastries in there and just say, you know what? Get those in the oven, watch them, pull them out, put them on this plate, and get them out to everybody so that they can enjoy them while they're hot, because these just pop in your mouth. Okay, look, I'm gonna flip this over. See how cute? There we go. They're just all golden on the bottom. How close can we go? We'll turn that over again. See that? They're just beautiful. We could probably, yep, look. Oh, this is just gonna flake because it's the puff pastry. Ah, this is like perfect. Look at this. See how it just breaks open? It's still too hot to eat, I think. I don't want to burn my tongue. Mmm. Oh, that is so good. So good. This is a favorite. Please make this. Please let me know how it goes. Take photos, tag me at Devour Dinner. I want to see them. I really get excited on Thanksgiving hearing about what you're making, what you're doing, how it's working. It's just such a fun time of year to create memories with your family, with your friends. And the best way to create those memories is around a dinner table where you get to visit with one another and share stories and spend time with each other. And food is a large part of that. So let's try these recipes. You've got my tips. We're at the hour mark, so it is time to go. I got to get on the road, you guys. I got to clean this up. I got to get out of here. So thank you for coming and watching today, or if you're watching on the recap, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so, so much. Again, thanks to Amy from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners, to her other admins and moderators who come and are so supportive. Big hugs. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please give it a like. I sure appreciate you all. And stay tuned. Watch my Facebook page for notifications for next week. I'll try to go live. It's kind of crazy, but it's always fun to say hi to you guys. And we'll be back at regular times. All right, everybody, have a fantastic Sunday. Take care. See ya.